Good morning, I'm Gary DeWaal, and this is Bridging the Week for March 27th to 31st, and today is April 3rd, 2017. An international cheese and food ingredient company settled an enforcement action brought by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission that it acted as a Futures Commission merchant without being registered as required under the law in connection with a risk management program it administered for its milk suppliers. However, the settlement order raises many questions, including what precisely did the firm do wrong? Separately, FINRA and 10 exchanges brought an enforcement action against the broker-dealer and its principal owner for aiding and abetting manipulative trading through layering, spoofing, and cross-market manipulation by one of the firm's customers. The case echoed the same themes as an enforcement action filed by the Securities Exchange Commission against the same two respondents just 2 weeks earlier. Yesterday marked opening day of the 2017 baseball season in the United States. So I can rush out to the local stadium in Queens, New York to see my favorite team disappoint me. Let's get started. Davisco Foods International Inc., an international cheese and food ingredient company headquartered in Le Sueur, Minnesota, agreed to settle a complaint filed by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission that it acted as a Futures Commission merchant without registration in connection with a hedging program it administered for its milk suppliers. It settled this matter by agreeing to pay a $150,000 US fine. However, from the settlement order issued in this matter, it is not clear what Davisco did wrong. As a result, the settlement order engenders confusion among end users and agricultural cooperatives that today offer valuable price protection and similar types of risk management programs to our nation's farmers and livestock growers. At best, a reader of the settlement order can tell, through its Milk Patron program, Davisco bought milk from its suppliers and offered them an opportunity to obtain a price that was impacted by settlement prices of the relevant CME milk futures contract. It appears that, in connection with this, at least some milk suppliers placed orders for futures with Davisco. However, this was for Davisco's account, not for an account, apparently, of any individual supplier. Davisco, quote-unquote, solicited and accepted funds for this program from its suppliers, but, quote, only as a pass-through, end of quote, whatever that means, and the profit and loss of this trading was reflected in the milk patron's overall accounting. This is a suggestion that the firm accepted orders for futures contracts for individual customers and collected margin in connection with positions established through these orders. But there is also a suggestion, by the very cryptic language used in the settlement, that this is not what happened. Not helpful. For more facts and my views on this matter, check out the article version of Bridging the Week on the website. Wedbush Securities Inc. agreed to pay a fine of $55,000 US to resolve a disciplinary action brought by the Chicago Mercantile Exchange for failing to respond timely to numerous requests for records, documents, and other information related to exchange inquiries from March 2015 through January 2016. CME said that the firm acted, quote, principally through its former chief compliance officer, end of quote, in connection with these failures. Separately, Isaiah Kingston and Alexander Perlberg were charged with unrelated instances of engaging in disruptive trading practices. According to a business conduct committee of the New York Mercantile Exchange, Mr. Kingston, a non-member, placed a series of large stop orders in the New York Harbor low-sulfur heating oil futures contracts on several trade dates in June and July 2015, quote, in close proximity to each other, end of quote. When executed, said the BCC, that's the Business Conduct Committee, the orders caused, quote, a disruptive and rapid price movement, end of quote, in the futures contract and prompted an automatic temporary suspension of trading known as a stop logic event. To resolve this matter, Mr. Kingston agreed to pay a fine of $100,000 US and be suspended from trading any CME Group contract for 6 months. Similarly, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange Business Conduct Committee claimed that from December 12, 2014 through January 31, 2015, Mr. Perlberg, a CME member, quote, engaged in a pattern or activity, end of quote, on several dates where he manually entered large orders for March 2015 E-mini NASDAQ 100 futures contracts solely to observe the market's response and to induce market participants to trade opposite his smaller iceberg orders on the other side of the market. After receiving fills on his iceberg orders, Mr. Perlberg allegedly canceled his resting large orders. Mr. Perlberg resolved the CME disciplinary action by agreeing to pay $7,329 US in disgorgement, US $5,000 in a fine, and serving a 3-month CME Group trading ban. CME Group exchanges brought and settled a host of other disciplinary actions last week. For details, check out the article version of Bridging the Week on the website. And finally, less than 20 days after they were sued by the Securities and Exchange Commission for similar violations in the U.S. federal court in New York, Lex Securities Corporation, a U.S. registered broker-dealer, and Samuel Leck, its principal owner and chief executive officer, were named in a disciplinary action by the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority in 10 exchanges with aiding and abetting the manipulative trading of a customer, Avalon FA Ltd., a non-U.S. entity, as well as other violations. Well, that's it for this week's edition of Bridging the Week. As always, there is more information in each article and more articles on the article version of Bridging the Week on the website. Check it out. I'm Gary DeWaal. Have a great week, and until the next edition of Bridging the Week, take me out to the ball game. Ciao!